pleasure being here and joining the forum today. When I look at the Philippines, I see the underlying investment that's certainly there by the government. I look at the resilience of the population and the resilience of the economy, and the ability for this economy to bounce back. And also I'm viewing what is happening around the rest of the globe, how other countries have come out of the pandemic and the impact of the logistics industry is going through in these other countries. An example being for the corporation that I work for, Crown Lift Trucks, the major provider of our equipment now in the United States is actually the e-commerce corporation. So Amazon directly is purchasing an unprecedented amount of equipment as they develop their logistics industry and infrastructure directly. Now, in the Philippines, whether we see a direct investment by these e-commerce players or whether we see an indirect via logistics companies or 3PLs, I do believe that this industry will continue to grow in the Philippines. One of the reasons why I think we're set for development is indeed as a response to the government's huge investment in infrastructure that has come through at the perfect timing for the Philippines, particularly for logistics. It's so important to have a good road network and seamless supply. Now, in the past and at the moment, I would describe the logistics industry as fairly mature, but on the e-commerce side at the moment, it's probably a little bit less mature. And that is because it is a relatively new industry and because the players in the industry in some cases have started from a smaller base. These players are now becoming large. They're increasing in size, and in their own right, they are becoming more of a dominant force, and all the traditional players in the logistics industry here are getting directly involved in this online or e-commerce. So we are certainly seeing a trend towards that, and we're seeing the facilitation of this industry because of this road network particular, but also the airport network, the ports, the overall infrastructure supporting. I think it's also opportune time to discuss not only the growth that's happening in the United States, but the pressure that global growth is perhaps putting on some of the industry. The commodity prices globally have gone up substantially. Everybody has seen and read in the news, and I'm sure many corporations have even felt the impact out of China of the electricity shortages. That will put some pressure on the Philippines. It'll put pressure on equipment that comes in to support the logistics industry. It will put pressure on equipment at airports, at ports, even inside logistics facilities. So regardless of whether equipment comes from China or the United States or Europe, there is going to be an increase in the cost base. This unfortunately is going to happen. But the benefits for the Philippines is because this industry is maturing, because the road networks are available. It means that Philippine corporations and companies in this industry can also afford to invest in this equipment because the payback is going to be there, and the payback is going to be there now more so than ever because the industry is freeing up because of this infrastructure development. So we've got some interesting dynamics, certainly on the other influences being commodity prices, equipment. We can see in other countries around the world this growth that's absolutely come to the Philippines. And we can also see the road network is there and available. And combined, I do think that we'll see a maturing of this sector in the logistics industry, becoming, what would be the word, a little bit more cost conscious, but essentially growing, not just sort of pushing it down to a low provider, but we're seeing more large scale providers take scope and responsibility for a bigger piece of this industry. Of course, consumers are not going to go back and change their patterns. The retail industry will still be there. So this is a complementary industry. And also with the population and the growth, there's no reason to think it's an all or nothing. It's an additional growth that will support the rebounding of the Philippines industry. It's a growth in the logistics sector, and it's a growth that everybody and all the players in this industry can benefit from and be part of. So I think it's a wonderful topic that we're discussing today. I think it's very interesting. I do believe there's going to be a lot of changes still to come in the coming years, and I'm happy to be part of this growth and this opportunity that the Philippines has. As you know, we continue to grow and get bigger and support those end customers of ours. So thank you.